Hey, Internet. Swag here. I was just getting away from things doing some fishing. Oh, hey. Looks like something bit. Would you look at that? Oh. Well, good thing I'm a better builder than I'm a fisher. We can build ourselves our own fishing spot. Let's get to it. Now the first part of this 3-part tutorial will be about making a fish to fish. Now you can build your own fish. I got a volunteer. Their name is Hank. And to make Hank move, we will be introducing them to an animation gizmo. To start off, we're gonna get our make pen, which can be found in our backpack. A make pen. Now before we do anything with our animation gizmo, we are going to edit Hank. And as you can see, Hank's pivot point is awfully far to the front. Now if you don't know what a pivot point does, or if you are just making a quick animation, you often want your pivot point to be as close to the center of your animated object as possible. To do that, we are going to use select the centermost piece of Hank, click the 3 dots and center pivot on selection. As you can see, its pivot point is now nice and central. Now the next step in all of this is finding ourselves an animation gizmo. We can find this in our palette. Go to our gadgets, go to our gizmos, and find ourselves the animation gizmo. Get ourselves one, somewhere above Hank. Put it nice and straight. And there we go. Our next step is adding Hank to the animation gizmo. For that we are going to use the wire and draw a line with the wire from Hank to the ring at the top of the animation gizmo. And now to see if this has gone proper, we use edit and edit our animation gizmo, and now everything is grayed out except for Hank. Because we want Hank to be swimming, his movement should be a snaking motion. So we are going to split our animation up into 4 frames. Straight, moving, straight, moving, straight. So now that we know what kind of movement we want our fish to have, we can put that in the animation gizmo. So we shall edit and press our animation gizmo, and that brings us our animation menu. Now we start with no frames, so when we add a frame, we can now move our fish. And you will see that we get a line in between the 2 fishes, and when I go from frame to frame, our fish moves along with them. So for our second frame, like we said, we want a snaking motion. So not only am I going to move the fish, I'm going to rotate it just the tiniest bit. Now when we add another frame, we want it to be like the first frame, so we copy that and we paste that, but we move it all the way to the other side. And as you can see on this menu, we are still in the 3rd frame. So if we go back to the first frame, we have our first half of our snaking motion when we move our slider. Next step, add another frame, move it all the way back, and rotate it to be snaking the other way. Now we add one final frame, and this is going to be a copy of our first frame. So we go to our first frame, copy, and we paste that in our last frame. And this will make it so that if we loop our animation, the first and last frame will be the same. which causes a nice transition and a nice loop. So now if I press play, we have our snaking motion. Now this is going a little bit slow for my taste, so what I'm going to do is I'm going into configure, press our animation chip, and up the speed percentage a little bit. Set it to 200, it will double its speed. And to turn on our animation gizmo, we can configure this circle exactly, and turn it on to play. So now we have the basis of a super simple swimming animation. Now there is really no challenge in fishing a fish that swims in place. So our next step is to go one deeper and animate our animation gizmo. Now the first thing we will need is a second animation gizmo. So we go back into our palette, get ourselves another one, just spawn that in here. And much like we wired Hank to the first animation gizmo, we will now wire the first animation gizmo to the ring of the second animation gizmo. So we are not wiring the ring to the ring, but the body of the animation gizmo to the ring of the animation gizmo. Now, if we edit our second animation gizmo, we can see that everything except for this animation gizmo is grayed out. And one thing we are going to do is turn on the squiggly line, and this will smoothen our movement so that when we have 6 frames, that will send this animation gizmo into a circle. It will actually be a circle and not a hexagon. So we shall move this one, add a frame, haha, and move this one along. And then add a frame. And add a frame. Well, I think you get the gist by now. And let's see how a circle goes. There we go. Now if we configure this animation chip to play, we see our fish swimming in a nice circle. Lovely. Well, that concludes part 1 of this tutorial. I hope you enjoy your new fishy friend, and to see you around in part 2 when we'll start making the fishing rod. Swag out.